Hi, my name is Todd Young, and I'll be doing a presentation today on the most effective strategies to counter testimonial injustice. My research question was exactly that. What are the best and most effective strategies to combat testimonial injustice? And for my project, I've examined the act of adjusting credibility excesses and have decided that achieving epistemic justice involves adjusting excesses just as much as it requires adjusting credibility deficits. In recent years, the analyses of both epistemic injustice and more specifically testimonial injustices have been widely expanded on. These injustices, specifically in testimonial instances, are a result of the hearer having negative prejudices which cause a person to be wronged. Credibility deficits and the harm that they cause have been extensively discussed, but a limited amount of studies have been directed effort on credibility excesses' potential role in causing testimonial injustice. Alternatively, Jose Medina's paper, The Relevance of Credibility Excess and Proportional View of Epistemic Injustice, kind of Differential Epistemic Authority and the Social Imaginary, focuses on the effect of the credibility excess. I've analyzed both the philosophical studies on credibility deficits and Medina's work on the importance of excesses. I've concluded that in the undertaking of epistemic justice, both credibility deficits and credibility excesses must be treated and must be adjusted and treated with equal importance. Medina kind of reviews Miranda Fricker's discourse on epistemic injustice, and like Fricker, he links both kinds of epistemic injustice to the hermeneutical injustice. However, Medina veers from Fricker's theories when he links the hermeneutical injustice and the social imaginary with testimonial injustice. Obstacles and limitations in the social imaginary create an inability to perceive certain things. These obstacles are social forms of blindness and deafness that restrain the capacity of effective communication and genuine understanding in testimonial exchanges. Deep epistemic injustice is akin to the hermeneutical injustice, as both stem from the cultural bias engraved in prejudiced social imaginary. Medina also expresses that Fricker fails to see how damaging credibility excess is and does not mention that epistemic injustice is temporarily and socially extended. Medina kind of points out some of his observations concerning incidences of credibility excess to back up his argument that epistemic justice is expansive throughout testimonial exchange. First, that the development and continuation of injustices can be initiated by both speakers and hearers. He goes on to argue that credibility judgments have both immediate and lasting effects on every person involved with the interaction and other people that are indirectly related to it. He explains that epistemic injustices are built and continued by the social imaginary. Medina uses the jury in the novel To Kill a Mockingbird to describe an example of both hermeneutical blindness and meta-blindness, which is to be blind to one's own blindness. He proposes that epistemic friction can bring out and promote diverse ideas from people who are hermeneutically blind or meta-blind. A person can pursue epistemic friction by searching for alternative viewpoints, looking at things from various angles, and formulating points in alternative vocabularies. Medina also recognizes that until meta-blindness is fixed, epistemic friction will not work properly. The failure to have the necessary critical openness as a listener in testimonial exchanges is also the failure to establish the right personal connection with the other person in the exchange. It is both a personal and a social problem, and the personal failure is both cognitive and emotive at the same time. It is the inability to see the relevant epistemic importances and to feel the interpersonal relation of trust needed for the transmission of knowledge. I agree with Jose Medina's concentration on epistemic friction as a solution to testimonial injustice, and I've illustrated his ideas on how to achieve epistemic justice that it partly rests on taking credibility excesses into consideration. In particular, I want to describe to you how openly repairing credibility deficits doubles the problem. On one hand, it causes epistemic harm, and because it does not consider the excesses which can cause people to draw the wrong conclusion from detailed testimonies. Even if a person's testimonial deficit has been corrected, if the other's excess is still stronger than the corrected deficit, then the person who has the excess will be favored over the other. On the other hand, it can also be wrong for the person who received that deficit is their ability as a knower. It can cause them to question their own knowledge and in some exchanges. As such, we must take into account both credibility, excess, and deficit if we are to combat testimonial injustice and improve the transmission of knowledge. Thank you.